Alright, so everybody is ready right now, so we can actually safely continue to the game after, of course, the final countdown is ready. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you all, are you ready for the first game of the day? Statis and Nitix will battle for glory here on the BG Stars Gora channel. Don't forget to follow us if you still haven't, and yeah, let's jump into the game to see where the two players are, and we can already notice that the Protoss is located in the top right side of the map. He is from Greece and his name is not Statis. It's a different name. His opponent though, from Bulgaria, in the bottom left corner, the multiple national champion Nitix. He is going to be playing with the orange Zerg pieces. Last time Nitix played with some tricky builds. He tried to proxy hatch his opponent several times, but that didn't work out so good for him. So I expect maybe something more standard from our Bulgarian Zerg player. I believe that his macro is one that is super impressive, and yeah, I would like to see that develop instead of a cheesy play. Of course, the Protoss already showed us many times that he can actually react pretty well to cheeses, to rushes. And not only that, he is pretty stable in the long macro game. So if we get a long macro game out of these two, I think that all of us, the viewers, are going to be super happy about that. And you can see the second base here being thrown down. Very standard from the Protoss side of the things as well. And I wonder what tech will Statis choose after his cybernetic score is done, because last time when we saw this player, he actually showed us everything. He showed us a quick robo, he showed us a Twilight Conceal into DT, and he showed us, of course, the standard Stargate play. So for me, I'm curious. This player showed us that he can do it all, and that means that he is pretty dangerous for his opponents as well. Imagine playing against somebody that has shown you so much variety in his play style. I believe that you always have to have something at the back of your mind, worrying about, for example, what is the tech of choice. And we see that at least on the first map it's going to be the Stargate opener. So I expect some Oracle plays to come from Mr. Statis soon enough. Of course, Nitix, he is building his third hatchery and he is developing himself. I expect a Roach Warren to be planted soon enough, of course, because Roaches are pretty mandatory in this matchup. This is one matchup that you cannot win only with Zerglings. You know, it's not that easy, at least. Of course that you can do it, but it's not that easy. The Roaches hit harder and they can sustain more damage, so I think that they are a pretty good choice against Protoss. And we see a super fast third base here from Mr. Statis, so I don't see any intention to attack in the upcoming minutes, so to say. The first Oracle is out. Of course, the first Oracle can go and put some pressure maybe on the drones, but he will use it to defend the third base location. And I think that this is smart, because when you have only one Oracle on the battlefield and you have opted to go for a super fast third base, that means that you're kind of defenseless, right? And you really need that Oracle at home. For example, if link run bys happen, of course these links are too little and they're not going to find any damage against the depths. But let's see here, 3 queens already in position. The Oracle has been chased away. Nitix getting some more extractors, starting up his lair, putting one evolution chamber down actually, and one Roach Warren. and he will slowly progress on the tech tree. So this is something I really like about the new energy battery, because you can replenish the energy of the orcos, for example, and put them back straight again to try to damage the opponent. But Nitix has queens on position everywhere, which is pretty nice for him. These crit tumors though, it's pretty annoying to lose them, as this was like 75 energy wasted basically of active tumors. So Nitix's creep spread is going to be delayed substantially by that. But other than that, he isn't in too much trouble. He's already going for base number 4. His economy is looking good, 66 drones. And his technology is looking good as well. Adding the Hydroden, adding the infestation pit, adding the technology needed to make that tier 3 technology transition, of course, as well as a 5th base as well, which was scouted very nicely by Statis actually. He sent one of his oracle to the 9 o'clock location and one of his oracles to the 6 o'clock locations to see where the Zerg will expand, and now he saw that the Zerg is expanding at 2 positions at the same time. Oh, great play here by Nitix to activate the 2 stasis traps. But yeah, what I was about to say is that Nitix investing in 2 expansions means that probably his army is going to be a little bit weaker, right? And the first moment that the Protoss player actually sees that Nitix has invested into hatcheries is actually the first time that he decides to attack in this game. He says that he's lagging very bad, so I hope that he actually manages to fix that. I remember that last time he had a little bit of issue again with the lag, but he used to resolve it, so yeah, I hope that now he can resolve it as well. Maybe he can say to his family members to stop streaming or stop downloading movies or something like that, I don't know. But whatever he decides to do, I hope that he can play without luck, of course. And after we have the confirmation from Nitix, we are going to unpause the game. 3, 2, 1, resume. Alright, the battle is upon us. This stasis trap was pretty beautiful, I would say. A lot of the links are trapped in it, so they can actually not defend right now, but Nitix has a lot of army here to defend. 7 Hydras on the way as well, and we all know how well Hydras manage against Stalkers. So let's see, Nitix is chasing right now. The Oracles, they don't have too much energy. And we have only one shoot battery here on the 3rd base. The 4th base was attempted here by Statis, but it wasn't secured. Nitix was already here with the army. Now we have a counter attack here, but a lot of Stalkers here to defend. I don't know if the Zerg can actually break the Protoss here with so much defense. But actually there is a flank. Several Hydras coming, several more links are coming. Still though, the Blink Stalkers, they have +1 attack, and we can already see that this army that Stasis has is more than enough to defend this territory here. And of course another base will be planted by him, while he will try to actually punish the Zerg a little bit. Right now Statis is probably thinking that the Zerg has invested in a lot of economy, in a lot of drones, and if that is the case, that means that this position is quite breakable. But we see that Nitix has a lot of links, a lot of Hydras in the production tab. Will they come soon enough though, because he will start losing some units. At the same time, we have a Lincoln by here in the natural, managing to kill several probes, but the drones here, they are more to fall, 9 fall in total so far, and Status is going to demolish this hatchery here, which means that Nitix will have to transfer his drones on the 6 o'clock location. This map I actually like for the Zergs. It's not too small, it has a lot of open spaces, so Zergs can actually exploit that. But of course, in order for them to get into a comfortable position, they need to have a lot of workers, a lot of drones, a lot of upgrades. And right now, Nitix's economy isn't looking perfect, in all honesty. He has even less workers than the Protoss player right now. And the Protoss player, he replenished his army and he is on the move out again with a scary Blink Stalker army. How many Stalkers are there? 31 in total. Oh my goodness, this is a scary number, and this base, it needs to be protected. If it falls, it's going to be bad news for the Zerg player for sure. The lurkers are here though, and lurkers will help with the defense for sure. We need some oracles here to use revelation. Do they have enough energy? One of them does. The worker upgrades are coming, along with more workers as well. We see 15 of them are being developed right now. But the army supply here of Nitix isn't as impressive as the Zerg would like to be. So he needs to be very careful not to trade bad against these Stalkers, which Status uses very well. As you can see, he's super mobile with them. He's sending wave after wave non-stop here, and he's expanding behind that. So the Protoss player is playing with a very good tempo, and already he's putting Nitix on the back foot, actually. Something to note though, the defense will be better here for Nitix as his lurker upgrades are coming online. Already the extended attack range is here, and yeah, that will help defending the ramps very much in a situation like that. Nitix needs to be careful here not to activate the stasis traps with his whole army, because that could spell disaster for him. And this time only 2 links are entrapped, which is good news for the Zerg player, who is actually counter-attacking right now with a lot of links here on the 5th base location, but the defenses there are going to hold very well. The Stalkers, they are looking for position to attack to. They cannot find an opening just yet, but Nitix is being forced to stay on 4 bases. He needs to expand very quickly, but the mobility of the Stalkers and the constant attacks that Status is organizing is not allowing the Zerg to do so. There was another run by here, but it was defeated by all of these defenses here. The Zealots, the photon cannons, they were enough to push them away. And now we have Zerg player on only 4 bases, which again isn't the best feeling. A Spire is being morphed. So what is Nitix trying to actually achieve here with the Spire? Is he just going to make several corruptors for the to take on the Oracles, or will he be looking to expand towards the Brood Wars, is what I'm wondering. But will he have the time for that, as the Stalkers of Not Stasis are already here? Nitix is counter-attacking though. He is counter-attacking the position here between the natural and the 3rd base, which is great, but no workers are falling down just yet for the Protoss player. 34 though fell down for the Zerg. He will finally clean this army here though, which is good news for him, but he's kind of put in a no-win situation right now, and he lost his attacking opportunities here between the natural and the 3rd base. While this is happening though, he will turn his gaze towards the 5th base of the Protoss here in the 12 o'clock location, but again, Status regrouped pretty quickly. And yeah, I think that Nitix realized correctly that his position in the game is just unwinnable, and this is why we saw him leaving the game, giving the victory on the first map to Statis. The tempo that the Protoss player played with was just great. As soon as he went on the other side of the map, he managed to find damage, and from there on out he managed to keep his advantage very well, right? Nitix tried to counter-attack and he did so in good moments, in good positions, but Status was basically everywhere, and his defenses were very correctly distributed between his territory. Yes, in the end he received a surprising blow between his second and his third base, but already the damage on the other side was too great, and that meant that maybe 1-2 more warpings coming from the Protoss would have put the final nail in the coffin either way. So Status is very close to actually take this series to 0. Of course, he's going to be on match point, but Nitix, I believe that playing against these opponents for so many maps during these first 2 weeks that he was playing in our tournament, I think that he is going to adapt to the playstyle of the Protoss player, and I believe that every map they share between one another, they are going to become more and more competitive. So map number 2 coming. But I see that the players have requested a little bit of a break, so guys, we are going to give it to them for just a couple of minutes, and we will be right back.
Ready to rumble.
Alright, a banger of a first map. This is why maybe the two players needed a little bit of a refreshment, but we are going to get back into the action very quickly, as our map is about to be loading up. What we can take away from the first map is that truly Status was dominating basically throughout the whole entirety of it, and I didn't see a moment where his defenses could crumble. Last time they played against one another, I remember Nitix showing us some creative drops, some nice drop alert plays, which actually threw Status off guard. Maybe he will need to do something along those lines again. And I would like actually to see from Zerk maybe an Idas Worm come into play or something like that. Maybe just try to surprise in a more creative way the defense of the Protoss, because he is really on top of his defensive game, as it would seem, and he's defending very well by actually winning the center of the map, right? When you win the center of the map, you make it very difficult for the other player to actually win, right? Because you're imposing your tempo and your rhythm on the map, and you're controlling the center, so the other player that is defending needs to find the different routes to actually reach your base, right? And when you're constantly in his face, you have to he has to make the decision: how much army do I leave to defend, how much army do I send to counter attack. Usually when you send just a little bit of army to counter attack, you lose it quickly, because the attacking power is just too great on the other side of the map. So it's a very tricky position to be in when you're just constantly defending for an entirety of a map. So I believe that if Nitix wants to maybe win this series, he needs to impose his will, and he needs to impose his tempo to the Protoss. Of course, the matchup, the Zerg versus Protoss matchup, is a little bit weird in a way that the Zerg takes a longer time to actually develop, right? In the early games he invests a lot into queens, into drones, into hatcheries, and this all means that he is investing less and less in army. Yes, we have seen many timing attacks with links, with some roaches, but usually those builds are all win builds, and if you fail, then you're kind of left in a no man's land, so they're very dangerous to actually attempt. So this is why we see that the Zerg players are defending in the early games, and they're trying to persevere, maybe to at least to the mid game. Of course, in the late game, the match becomes very, very difficult. So yeah, Zerg players in a standard ZVP matchup usually tend to try to finish their opponents off in the mid game. Because once we get to those big carrier storm bows, it is a whole different game. Actually, the tempo becomes way different than what you're used to usually. So let us see if actually we are going to find ourselves in such a situation, as we are already ready to go to Whispers of Gold, which is our second map. Alright, so in the bottom right side we have the Bulgarian Zerg. He is currently trailing, and he will be looking to tie up the series. Will he manage to do so? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Nitix. Of course, his opponent in a very comfortable position on a match point. Will he be able to close this series with a perfect score? The Greek Protoss player, not Statis. State is already sending a probe to the other side of the map, of course, to scout is there something cheeky going on there, but he will notice that everything seems very standard right now, as he sees the second hatchery of Nitix, and now he will see the timing of the spawning pool as well. So basically right now the Protoss player understands that he can go for the second base without worrying that a huge amount of links will be rushing to his way. Truly an impressive player when it comes to Oracle plays. I am very much impressed how well he uses his stasis traps. and this has proven to be quite annoying for all the Zergs he played against. As you remember, last week he also played against MSRM, another great Zerg here from Bulgaria, and in those matches again, just the usage of the oracles was just brilliant, I would say. And we see Nitix now, he's diving a little bit deeper with his first overword, and he will be trying to figure out what the tech choice here for Status will be. And we see that Stargate is the weapon of choice here for the Protoss player, so he isn't going to experiment with anything all too crazy in the first several minutes, of course, of the game, in the opening stages, so to say. Last time, Status fired up his third base very quickly, so you see Nitix patrolling the perimeter here already. Ooh, dancing with the Lynx actually as well. But yeah, Nitix is patrolling here. He wants to maybe snipe a potential probe, but at the same time he needs to be careful about the depths here, as one of them will actually complete its shade, and Nitix here saves the drones very nicely. Not a single drone has been killed here. And a little bit of an old chat here, brave dive. Nitix is taunting his opponent while going with some links on the other side of the map. Do we have an oracle in the sky just yet? No. So these links are going to actually show away some of the hit points here from this Nexus. Will they get a cancel? I think that they will. Oh my god, okay, this is actually pretty substantial. This will delay the third base of the Protoss for a long time, and already we can see this adaptation that I was talking about. Nitix recognizing that his opponent likes to go for a quick third base, was already there with the links to meet it head on and to deny it for as long as possible, and so he did. So a better early game for Nitix right now as opposed to the first map, and he still has some army here on the other side of the map, trying to put as much pressure as possible on the Protoss player. The two oracles here though, they will defend this territory with ease, as their laser beams are just terrifying for the Zerglings. But when they're here to defend, they're not attacking, right? So just with a couple of links, Nitix is forcing Status to keep his oracles at his home, which means that his drones are going to be safe because of that. Right now though, as soon as Nitix returned home with the links, the two oracles are coming here, and Nitix is trying to greet them. Will he manage to take his fourth here? No. Good activation of the lasers here by Mr. Status, so he denied the plant of the fourth base. So both of them actually exchanged a deny of the base that they need to get next, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, finally we see Nitix starting his fourth base here on the location which is right below the main base, and at the same time the oracles are cleaning creep here, and they're clearing queens as well. Oh, this could be dangerous. The oracles deal a lot of pure damage, and as you can see, when we have three of them, the queens struggle, and when you have only two queens remaining, that means that you are in a tough spot basically, because your anti-air is nowhere to be found. But in the end of the day, no drones were lost, which is basically the biggest thing here for Nitix to be protecting his workers, because at some point when you're a Zerg player you really need to stop making the workers and transition to a full army development. Of course you cannot really do that if you don't have the economy necessary to sustain bulking up your army. Again, we see this play here from Status. He is searching for a 5th base here by the Zerg player. Such a base is nowhere to be found just yet. Overseer Cocoon will morph the Overseer, which will scout the territory of the Protoss, and won't see anything out of the ordinary, right? We don't have a robotics facility or a robotics bay or something along those lines. Everything seems super standard. Stalker galore basically is what we are going to be watching from Statis for the next minutes. And already his favorite push with Stalkers and Oracles has commenced. Nitix though, he is waiting patiently. He is not rushing down off creep to defend, as he knows very well that his opponent probably has a lot of stasis traps set up here, as he actually does. The 4th one being placed just right now. And Nitix is actually sending a couple of roaches forward to deactivate the traps, which is very nice, but his squeeze is so low on HP though, and he needs them for the larva injections. So this defense here is super important, but look at just how strong Blink Stalkers are, especially when the Zerg is worried to make a flank, because you cannot really flank an army with so many traps behind it. Finally though, we see that the Hydras are dealing good amount of damage to them, and they will need to pull back. But at the same time, they managed to destroy the 4th base location here for Nitix, resetting him to only 3 bases. And right now, Nitix needs to find some counter damage, because as we already see, Statis is ahead. He is ahead in bases, and this means that he is going to be ahead on basically everything in the upcoming minutes if Nitix doesn't find a way to equalize the score. Several links have been prepared here to maybe counter-attack while this battle is ongoing. 6 Spinecrawlers being morphed here. Nitix trying to use every defensive option he has in his arsenal in order to deflect this push, and we see that so many Stalkers just one-shot the static defense here for Nitix, who is counter-attacking right now with the links, but they met the photon cannons, they met the Stalkers here, and yeah, while Nitix forced a defensive warping here, he doesn't have enough army to actually deal with all of these Stalkers here that are on the front. And at the same time, while Statis is again controlling the center of the map, we see that he is expanding better than the Zerg, already firing up his base number 5. Nitix still sitting on 4 bases. He really needs to deflect this army here in order to progress with his economy. And so far so good, right? He managed to chase back very far away. Some lurkers we have here, more links and more hydras are coming. So the link lurker hydra composition is going to be the weapon of choice here for Nitix. And finally he manages to break the contain at least, which is very nice. But at the same time that he is trying to attack, look at what Statis is doing. He is threatening a counter attack, but Nitix is like, okay bro, if you're going to counter attack me, then I'm going to make you make a choice. Are you going to base trade me, or are you going to defend? Because Statis, even if he warps in a lot of units here, he won't have enough to actually defend against all of these workers and hydras. Already 12 probes are falling down as well, which is nothing to laugh at. And with each stalker that Statis loses here, it's becoming more and more dangerous for him. Nitix here though, I would like him to target fire the cybernetics core. That will mean that there won't be any more stalkers to be produced, and right now we see that stalkers is basically the strongest weapon that Statis has in his utility belt. And yeah, you can see just here the lurkers and the Lynx and the Hydras demolished the pure Stalker army of Statis. And actually, Nitix is sitting on 200 supply right now. Will Statis be able to hold this attack? Oh my god, this attack comes from several places at once. Yeah, the storm here, the storm is here, and it landed perfectly on the Hydras and the Lurkers here, but the Hydras still have some HP left. They still are going to push, and Nitix's army is just impressive here, and he is going to require the GG out of his opponent. And here we have it. Nitix ties up the score, ladies and gentlemen, and already from match number 1 we have a tiebreaker, right? We have a third map, a decider map, and I'm super happy to see that. Today I don't want to see 2-0s, I want to see final maps, as it is fitting for a final. And yeah, here you can see several of the replays from the previous game. This is a nice moment in the early game that truly threw a wrench in the Protoss wheels. And this final attack here was just perfect, as Nitix, you see, attacked from 2 places, and he managed to very well position his army between the natural and the third base. And yeah, just Stalkers weren't enough to defend. Last time these two played against one another, we saw that Statis used a lot of Colossi, right? And against a Link Hydra Lurker army, the Colossi are pretty impressive, so I would expect from the Protoss player here to actually implement the Robotics Bay units as well in this game, as I believe that he will truly need them. If he continues to play only with Oracles and Stalkers, we saw that good Zerg players, they can adapt like Nitix just did, so he's actually in trouble, I believe, if he continues to play like that. Alright, I see that my admin is inviting me to the lobby. It's going to be on Frost Line, the winter terrain map, which will very soon be filled with the blood of the fallen Zergs and Protoss units, of course. Alright, so we are jumping into the game. The score is tied 1-1, and in the top right side we have the Bulgarian representative with the Zerg player, with the Zerg pieces. This is the player Nitix. And of course in the bottom left from Greece with the Protoss pieces, this is going to be Statis. I'm very interested how old Statis is actually. I haven't seen his age just yet, but I wonder how old is he, because it would be super exciting, right, if we have another European young player that is showcasing such talent. As in the recent years, the European region truly caught up to the rest of the world, basically. And maybe this is why we have so many titles being won by non-Korean players in the past, like for example 6 years. Clem, Rainer, Cero, they all defended the glory of Europe, and by clutching the most prestigious trophy in the world of StarCraft 2, they showed that our region can become not only competitive to the South Korean one, but even better. And now I wonder, can we find such a player from the Balkan region as well? And this is one of the reasons we are actually doing these tournaments, in order to give the players a platform to develop their skill set through. Because nothing beats experience, right? And the more tournament experience you have, the better tournament player you are, basically. I imagine that if I was a good StarCraft 2 player, I was probably going to be playing every opportunity I get. But since I'm not that good in the game, I can sit here and cast, which of course is something very cool on its own, as I really like watching players that are similarly skilled. Doesn't matter if they are bronze or grandmaster, but if their skill is similar, the games are usually pretty fun to see. Stargate being the tech again for Statis, and he is going to fire up his favorite oracles as soon as this building finishes. At the same time, it is just developing according to plan. I'm interested to see how he plants his creep tumors, because we saw that Statis has the desire to clear the creep with the oracles, and I would imagine that spreading the tumors a little bit further away from each other would make it at least just a little bit harder for the oracles to clear the creep. But let's see, the first oracle is already here on the way, and it's about to fly exactly to the natural expansion location, and he's going to fly exactly over the creep tumors, sniping down two of them without losing almost any HP. I really like this play here. Another interesting thing we have from Statis though is that he's producing a Void Ray. So by having this unit in the air, the idea is to clear the overworlds of your opponent in order to make the map dark for him and surprise him with an unexpected attack. And such an attack is coming actually, and Nitix has no idea about it because he still hasn't seen the Twilight Council, which is researching not Blink this time, not Charge, but Glaive Depths. This is going to be a weird timing, right? A little bit of a delayed Glaive Adept timing attack, but that might make it an unexpected one. And already, when I see at the Zerg side of the map, I will notice that there isn't a single Roach Warren, which basically is the perfect answer for something like Adepts. Roaches fare amazingly against them, but Lynx can also do the trick, of course, if their numbers are high enough. And Banelings are something that make the Adepts explode. Of course though, the number of Adepts that the Protoss player has accumulated here is high enough to put a lot of pressure to the Zerg, and the Zerg is now going to see that. He's going to see the Adepts, and as you can see, the Lynx are moving back to the safety of the creep as soon as possible. And now, oh my god, the surround here is going to be a very good surround. The bearings are going to actually detonate on top of almost all of the Adepts here. Oh my god, amazing defense by Nitix. He managed to eliminate almost all of the Adepts before they can even fire a single shot on the workers. And only 2 drones falling down here for the price of so many Adepts. This is a great trade here by Nitix, but at the same time you see that the Void Ray is actually trying to deny the fourth base here, and it was almost about to do it, but the Trick Wings slowly but surely managed to find their way to defend this base. If this one Void Ray could actually finish the fourth hatchery, that means that the damage that Statis would have found was going to be very annoying for the Zerg player. But right now though, the Zerg is feeling well because he deflected one of the attacks from his opponent, and not only that, he didn't receive too much damage in return. So I would imagine that Nitix is in a good spot. Of course, having so much army, so many links and banes earlier, means that he didn't produce a lot of workers, and this is why we see him trailing behind in that regard. But as soon as the first adept wave came, we see that Nitix is developing a lot of drones afterwards, and he is slowly going to be surpassing his Protoss opponent. What is the technology choice here by the Protoss player is something I'm curious about, and we see that we have Dark Templars on the way, right? The DT Shrine is done, but this time around we are adding tier 3 tech for the Protoss player, which is going to be the carrier tech. The fleet beacon on the way, and fourth base being denied here by Statis. This is something that the Stalkers can do very well, right? Because you have a building that is low on HP, right? And you can very quickly go with the Stalkers to the other side of the map and just finish it off without really risking all too much army, because they can blink away quickly. And as soon as you get off the creep, the Zerg moving speed advantage is gone. Still though, 79 workers for the Zerg. He is now feeling in a good space, and this is why we see the Hive transition coming from him, as he will require those workers soon enough. Of course, workers aren't going to be the best unit to play against the carriers, which are also being produced right now, as well as their +1 attack upgrade. But there are a lot of Hydras here for Nitix, and Hydras can deal very well with carriers. Of course, if there isn't too much of a storm below them, because the combination of storm and carriers can be devastating even for a big chunk of Hydra army. Nitix found the Stalkers here, and he's chasing them all the way back here to the territory of the Protoss, while managing to sneak several Banelings in the third base location, killing 21 probes in total. And yes, while the carriers look very scary, when you don't have the economy to actually call them to fight for you, it can become pretty troublesome. And this attack here from Nitix, oh wow, it did so much damage. 26 probes falling down. The fourth base of the Protoss player has been destroyed, turned into a ruin. And yeah, okay, we have the fleet beacon, we have the stargates, but we don't have the money to actually build the number of carriers necessary to not only defend but to survive here. And yeah, it was nice for Statis to imagine that he is going to be taking this base, but he was denied. At the same time, more Banelings are coming here, and Statis will have to ride the GG. Nitix manages to do the reverse sweep here in a game. And there we have it, our game has loaded up. We find ourselves on Abyssal Reef, and in the bottom right side we have Nitix with the orange drones against the favorite pink drones of the player, who is located on the top left side. Of course, I am talking about MSRM. A little bit of an old chat between them. He says that Nitix says that it's difficult for him to write right now, but StarCraft 2 isn't won by writing more than your opponent. You need to be clicking more with the army and the spells and everything else. So I don't think that he's going to be suffering all too much, that he cannot write all too much right now. It's always cool to see a little bit of a friendly banter between two players, especially between two players that know each other so well. And both of them are not going to start with anything super aggressive, or are they? Because MSRM already has links going. Already I was a little bit distracted by the overworlds and the beauty of this map to actually notice that MSRM isn't building any drones, guys, so this game is going to pick up the pace very quickly, as already we have a lot of links streaming to the other side of the map, where Nitix doesn't even have a spawning pool already. And you see that MSRM's links are trying to take the long way around. And this is actually very well hidden, because Nitix now will see a hatchery at a timing which is a normal timing. He will see drones here, and he will probably say to himself, okay, everything looks super standard right now, I'm safe at home, and probably he's going to be building more drones. But MSRM though, he's building only links, and very soon he is going to attack. Nitix actually searching the perimeter for something like that. He missed the links, MSRM hit them very well, and now in the last possible second, Nitix is going to see the bad news that he has links to worry about. And right now he doesn't even have links in his production tab. Drones are coming out of the X. The Queen though has found herself in a very nice position here between the mineral lines. The surface area for the links was very small to actually attack, but yeah, drones versus links isn't the best matchup, right? So Nitix is in a world of trouble right now. 9 drones already falling down. Of course, 9 drones you can lose here because you're still ahead in workers. But this defense is going to be hard enough because MSRM is building basically links exclusively, but he couldn't finish Nitix here. And Nitix has 5 more drones, so if Nitix right now builds only links, and if MSRM now builds only links, Nitix is going to be ahead because he has a bigger economy. So even though it looked very dangerously for the Orange Zerg, it would seem that he found the way to stabilize. And now we have a Zerg who is on 3 bases against a Zerg who is on only 2 bases, so that means that Nitix is pretty much ahead in every regard. Yeah, he has 25 links on the battlefield right now. Only a couple left for MSRM, who is just now firing up a couple of drones. But he doesn't need drones, he needs links. But this is this economy difference we were talking about. 31 links for Nitix. He feels like he's in control of this game, and now it's his turn to counter-attack. And counter-attacking he is. I think that this substantial amount of links here, just how can it be defended with only 6 links? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe that we will see the GG soon enough. There it is. Nitix will take the 1-0 lead after a beautiful defense on Abyssal Reef. I was really feeling scared for him because I see that he's building only drones, right? And MSRM is building only links, but the execution of the attack wasn't probably the best by the Pink Zerg, and we see that the defense was very nice from Nitix. Yes, he sacrificed a lot of drones to achieve it, but in the end of the day, when all the dust has been settled, we saw that Nitix remained with more drones than MSRM, and he managed to win the map. Of course, if MSRM could find, for example, more damage, if instead of 9 workers he kills 14 or 15, right? Then Nitix becomes the player with less drones, and the game is way different. But Very clutch defense out of the orange Zerg player. And the next map we're going to see between them is going to be the Whispers of Goat. The Whispers of Goat map. One of the more standard maps, I would say, in this concurrent map pool. And I hope we have a longer game on our hands here, as we are about to jump to Whispers of Goat. Alright. Straight away, we start with the extractor tricks on both sides. And at least for now, everything is mirrored. But I wonder if one of them will actually turn up the aggression. Something interesting here. Actually, MSRM didn't start an overlord, right? He went for a 14 supply hatchery, then another extractor trick, and I believe that probably we will have a fast extractor as well, maybe coming here, but no. All of this was just to make his second base just a tiny bit quicker than Nitix did. A spawning pool will come earlier for MSRM, but with no extractor, I don't think that he will use it for too big of an attack. At least for now, it would seem that the two players are approaching the beginning of the game differently, but they're kind of headed for the same spot. So yeah, they might take different paths to reach it, but I think that in the end of the day we're going to be seeing basically the same things on both sides, especially now when the spawning pool comes online for Nitix as well. Of course, doing the opener like MSRM, as you can see, not only helps you to have a slightly quicker second hatchery, but your queens are substantially quicker, which in the long run will mean that the larva production by MSRM is probably going to get ahead than the one of Nitix. And you can see as soon as the queens pop out, they inject the larva in the hatcheries. In Zerg vs Zerg match, you don't really need to spread your creep all that much, right? Because while your units receive bonuses from it, your opponent's Zerglings and other Zerg units do so as well. So usually we don't see any queen usage here to spread creep. Of course, more than just connecting your bases. So far MSRM has more drones though, and he has 6 more on the way. At the same time, Nitix is already building a Roach Warren, so he has decided to skip the Link Bane phase of the game and tech up directly into Roaches, which usually isn't a bad choice in all honesty. So even if he meets, like for example, a couple of Banelings here from MSRM, the Roaches aren't going to be feeling too threatened by them. Of course, there is a threat on the third base location here by Nitix, and he is forcing MSRM to react and defend while sending more and more links on the natural base territory. And yes, MSRM is defending his third base, but will he manage to defend the main base? The Banelings are coming, but precious time here for MSRM. He needs to defend, he needs to protect as many drones possible before the Banelings come into play. And already they are here, so the links of Nitix need to be super careful not to get blown away by the woohoo Banelings here. Oh my goodness, this Baneling was very, very close. to getting the job done. Oh my god, this is such a high-paced chase we have between the two of them. But Nitix manages to trick his opponent. This Bellum probably should have been detonated already, but MSRM was searching for like a perfect detonation. It didn't come, so a queen will fall. And after all of this early game action, we see that Nitix is actually leading with 10 drones. He has a third base, and he has a better tech than MSRM. So MSRM now is in a very difficult position. Not only trying to replenish his losses, but trying to stabilize on 2 bases against a 3 base Zerg is not an easy feat, truly. He will need a better technology basically to achieve it, and this is why we see the lair coming from him. Nitix though, he smells blood in the sea, and like a shark, he's just going to be pumping links non-stop, and before I can actually manage to finish my as we are ready to go to ley lines, where in the top right side of the map we are going to be looking at the base of the Croatian Protoss player Goblin, who won the first week of the first Balkan circuit. Against him, of course, is the Bulgarian Zerg player Nitix, who is making quite the run this edition of the tournament. And why am I super excited about seeing this matchup? Well, Goblin is a very high level Protoss player who I have been following since 2018, I believe. I believe that back then was the first time I saw his play. I met him as well personally, and I have to say that Leon is a great guy. And the first time I met him, actually, we were with Nitix, and that was in Poland, right? In Katowice 2020. Nitix played at that tournament, and I was his player manager. So I had access to the players lounge, right? And there I could talk with basically everybody. And we were talking, me, Nitix, Goblin, and back then I was like visualizing how cool it would be to see a game between them. Sadly, in no tournament setting I ever had the chance to actually see them play against one another. And now, all those years later, in the BGE Balkan circuit, I finally have the opportunity to witness a game between Nitix and Goblin. And I believe that this is going to be a very high level Protoss versus Zerg. For example, Goblin will bring, I imagine, a different playstyle than Statis. And even though we saw Nitix playing and winning against a Protoss player early in the tournament, that doesn't mean that this Protoss is not a challenge, as we really don't know what to expect from him right now in this match. And already we are seeing a deviation from, for example, Statis' play, or for example from the standard play, as he is going to be going for a robotics facility building. Of course, there might be a giveaway that a Protoss player hasn't go to the Stargate, right? And this is the Stalker that is walking around here. Usually when a Protoss player starts with a Stalker, that means that he doesn't have a Stargate. But sometimes Protoss players can fire up the Stalker and the Stargate, trying to confuse their Zerg opponents very much. Right now though, a Warp Prism being chrono boosted, Twilight Council being added up, and I would imagine that a Dark Shrine will probably be following soon, but no, it will be charged. And Nitix says to his opponent that he's suspicious, as Goblin has been trying to prevent the scouting of Nitix very much. And Goblin is saying that he's building mothership, and that Nitix actually believes him. But this is going to be a super scary 2-base timing attack with charge watts. One of my favorite builds in the matchup. I think that this is a super dangerous build. And guys, if you wanna boost your MMR a little bit on the ladder when you're playing Protoss versus Zerg, this is a timing attack to master, and you just see how it will help you to actually win MMR points against Zergs. And not only charge watts, but 2 immortals as well. So we have a quick robo, chrono boosted war prism, 2 immortals, and you see that the 2 immortals get into the prism basically several seconds before charge is done. So right now, the first attack is going to be just incredible. And what Nitix needs to do right now is not build a single worker. He needs all of the army units he can get in order to defend against the Immortal Charge Watt push. Immortals will do very well against Roaches. Zealots will do very well against Lynx. Let's see, the attack has commenced. The Immortals are here. Drones are actually being pulled to contest the Immortals, and this is something that could work, as Immortals don't do that well against a high number of units attacking them at the same time. They do very well against heavy armored units like the Roaches, but not that well against light armored units. Still though, using workers to defend isn't the best thing for sure, and Nitix will return the drones to mine again, but this push is so scary already. So much army here, so deep into the Zerg's territory. The Warp Prism is still staying strong in the sky. Another warping round of Zealots will come. And even though one of the Immortals is very low on HP, if we see another warping here from the Warp Prism of Goblin, this is going to be very, very, very scary for Nitix. One of the Immortals about to fall down. Great pickup micro here by Mr. Goblin, though, managing to save all of his Immortals for the entirety of the map, and for just 6 minutes and 30 seconds the timing attack worked. Nitix was thinking that something like that could come, right? He said to his opponent, "You're looking very suspicious." But even if you know that an attack like this is coming, that doesn't mean that you are going to be able to defend it. And I believe that Nitix is experienced enough to have thought that charge watts could be coming, but we see charge watts with just 2 immortals and a warp prism. Very, very difficult for Zerg players, and this is why I told you when I saw which build Goblin is using, for you guys to try it out as well. I personally have seen a lot of success in the ladder myself, or with such a build. And of course, when you start practicing timing attacks like that, you know, you fail several times, then you try to think of some deviations so you can make it work again. And it's pretty fun to tinker with timing attacks actually. And I believe that in PvZ, timing attacks are super strong, they're very important, and they're somewhat mandatory if you want to cripple the Zerg early. Of course, Protoss players like, for example, Showtime and Stats, they prefer to go to the late game straight away, but not every Protoss is like that, as the Protoss we have in this match showed us. This is Goblin on match point, and this is Nitix again, trailing, but already he was in a similar position against Status, and he managed to fight back. So let's wait and see. I don't know if you guys remember, but I have seen a lot of games where Goblin actually cannon rushes, and I'm curious, will he, for example, try this strategy in some of his games? So far, he is not doing so. But cannon rushes are always super fun to watch. So I hope that at least one of the Protoss players is going to try it out today. But of course, it is a dangerous strategy to go for, because if you fail, and your opponent defends it, usually that means that they are going to be in a better spot than you. So maybe playing something a little bit more safe is the better choice here. And Nitix is again writing to his opponent. I think that he's referring to these blockers here. This map has no center basically in the early game, right? As you can see, the center is blocked off by mineral patches, rocks, and these strange looking things, which are with diminishing health. As soon as the map starts, these blockers lose their health, and I haven't calculated on which minute exactly they open up the space in the middle of the map, but it would seem that it would take around maybe 3 minutes more for that to happen. Goblin coming here to meet the Zerglings with his Adept. Nitix though will try to use his Micro in order to escape, but slow Lynx against an Adept isn't pretty for the Lynx. But while all of this is happening, more Lynx and several drones are coming here. Oh my goodness, Nitix is actually playing an all-in attack here. He wanted to come with the drones here, probably to drone drill, but he didn't need to do so, because there was a gap in the wall, and the Lynx are already here, and already they are going to snipe the pylon, which is researching and powering up the cybernetics core. It's a good thing that this time around Goblin decided to go for the Stargate opener, because if he hasn't, then there would have been no defenses here. An Immortal isn't good against Lynx, and for example, if he started out with a Twilight Conceal, we would be already on map number 3. So far though, we have a bit of a surface area here for Goblin to work with, and the energy replenishing option here for the Oracles will help the Protoss player substantially in the defense. But these are so many Lynx. Will Goblin have enough energy in his Oracles to actually defend against all of this? 3 shield batteries in the main though will make sure that the Protoss player isn't going to lose anything in the main base. We cannot say the same thing for the natural though. And the Lynx are again going to fight against the probes. How many will fall down? Just the 2. So far pretty nice defense, I would say, by Goblin. He manages to deflect the Lynx almost without losing anything. Just five probes falling down for 40 Lynx. And Nitix here is complaining that the Protoss players now have the energy battery, the energy overcharge. And now I see another example of how much better actually this shield battery is right now than the previous one. And I really like the change. Nitix is in a tough spot. He has only 37 workers. Right now he is going to start 7 more. But 4 oracles in the sky is something super dangerous, especially when they have the energy to dive on queens. And queens, talking about queens, I actually see only 2 of them. One on the natural and one on the third base. One on the third base will fall. Only one spore crawler everywhere. They can actually dive in on top of the spore crawler as well here. With the micro, Goblin will save basically all of his oracles while killing 8 workers for Nitix. So perfect damage here by the Protoss player. A counterattack was attempted by Nitix on the other side of the map, but it failed because here the defenses are more than enough. And now we have the casual no rush 6 minutes proposition of Nitix. But Goblin is a bit against that. He will think about it though, as he is humming right now. For 6 minutes, Nitix will be able to develop very well. But I'm really not sure that the Croatian will give it to Nitix. Yep, and he answered no, we are going to be playing. I'm about to attack you, good luck. Luck is not going to be all that Nitix needs here, as he will need some army as well in order to deflect, and he is building more links. If he somehow manages to separate the oracles from the stalkers, maybe there is a chance, but that would mean that the anti-air should be better here. And there isn't so much anti-air here to begin with. The Hydralisk then is just now finishing up, but all of the Larva is invested in links. The Blink Stalkers are here, and you can just see how patient Goblin is with them. And how many stasis traps he has planted down here in front of the Zerg player. And Nitix is trying to give his all with the links to defend, but the Stalkers are staying strong. And this is it. GG! Goblin will win another 2-0 here to reach the... Yeah, let's jump to King's Cove. Alright, so it's a 1-0 score, and we jump in the middle of the series, where the Terran in the bottom right from Team Litri and Bulgaria, Brockstar, will try to tie up the series against Statis, who is the Greek player here with the purple Nexus, being chrono boosted right now. And we are going to be looking at Terran versus Protoss right now. Actually, Brockstar is the only Terran in the tournament, so all the Terran fans need to support this player in order to see more Terran plays here in the bracket. And already Statis has proven to be a difficult opponent for Brockstar. So let us see how Brockstar adapts, because Brockstar is a great adaptive player. He is very good in macro as well, and he's going to be starting off this game actually with 2 refinery build. So I expect aggression coming from our Terran player early on. Is this a complete wall here? Yes, yeah, okay, I believe it is. It looks a little bit weird with how the pixels are working, but I think that this is a tight wall here. Either way, in this matchup we don't expect too many run-bys, right? So even if you misplace your wall a little bit, it's not the end of the world. So I'm curious to see what type of aggression Brockstar is actually going to choose here. As Terran players have a lot of options to decide from, right? They can go with mines, they can go with Helion drops, they can go with 2 Medivac plays and stuff like that. So, curious to see what the choice here will be for Brockstar. The Reaper is here, but he was greeted by the Adept. And in every other case, you know, the Adept looks very beautiful, and if you get greeted by somebody so beautiful, you feel nice, right? But the Reaper isn't on the Adept's good side, and he is greeted with slaps instead of hooks. So I can understand why Brockstar is being so careful with his Reaper right now. Behind that, we see a second base coming from the Terran and the starport being finished up here. Curious to see what unit will be produced by the starport. It's going to be a Medivac. Alrighty, so maybe a drop is going to be coming soon here. But what units are you going to drop on the other side of the map? Okay, we have a Cyclone and several Marines. A Cyclone Marine drop is something interesting. I really don't see it all too often. But this is something nice that the Terran players actually have at their disposal, and that is the Medivac, right? Because early on, basically you can drop with it anything. You know, any army you have, you can drop. And the variety of drops can be so wide that sometimes you can see a composition like 4 Marines and 1 Cyclone being loaded in it. But it seems like Brockstar decided to go back with his Medivac. Wonder why. Maybe he wants to drop the Cyclone and pick something else? Alrighty, he decided to drop everything, and maybe he will muster up a force from his first 3 buildings to attack head on. And that's actually not a bad strategy in my opinion, because before the Protoss player has access to Colossi or something like that, it's always dangerous, especially when they are tanks. And now the Terran player is already marching to the other side of the map. State is though, he has a couple of stalkers here and there. He has a shield battery as well, which is nice, and he's moving out on the map himself. With move outs like this, what the Terran is doing right now, it's good to meet the Terran army as soon as possible in the middle of the map, so you can snipe as many Marines as possible. But when the attack is so near your territory, it is actually a very, very, very scary place to be in. We have several SCVs here to repair the tech army as well. So that is a pretty nice addition to this push, and you can see that Brockstar is leapfrogging his tanks very patiently. Of course, all of this delay means that the first Colossi will pop out just now, and yeah, the Colossus will help with this defense for sure. One Colossus though doesn't deal all that of an impressive damage, right? So the Protoss player still needs to be careful. But the closer the tanks get, the more dangerous it becomes for the Protoss player. And there is actually going to be a bunker being built here. So Brockstar is going for the contain. A third tank joining the action. And already the tanks are in range of the shield battery. So this is a great push coming here from Brockstar, ladies and gentlemen. And the Protoss will be forced to defend very soon. But you see, he goes down with the Stalkers, and 2 of them die instantaneously. And more tanks are coming, more and more Marines are coming. This move out is very dangerous. The Nexus is already on half HP. Will the Protoss have enough army here to defend? He really needs to activate the army right now. Already 2 Colossi are on the field. 2 shield batteries have been added here on the mineral line as well. They were healing the Nexus a little bit, but for how long will Statis decide to stay passive? Because if the second Nexus falls, even if Progstar decides to move back to his base, he's going to be ahead. But here is the defense finally. It has been unleashed on the Terran's army, and 4 tanks. Will they be enough here to clear up all of these zealots, all of these stalkers, all of these colossi? The answer is a hard no. And all of the contain that Progstar invested in was demolished by the Protoss here. He displayed a lot of patience here, mustering up the army necessary to actually withstand the firepower of the tanks, and he did. And now he is counterattacking, and let us take a look at what the Terran has for defense. It's just 2 tanks. Let's see, the Protoss is here. He is blinking forward. He is blinking aggressively. SCVs have been put to defend, but all of them evaporate by the lasers, and Statis will close this series out 2-0, eliminate. So the game is loading. Ley lines is the map, as I already said, and in the top right side of it, we have the Bulgarian Zerg representative playing with the green drones. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Almighty. Almighty. And against him is the champion of week number 2. Will he be able to continue his tournament run? The Protoss from Greece. This time he's going to be playing with the red color. This is not Statis. So, Almighty, what I know about him is that he is a super creative Zerg, and I don't expect the most standard play out of him. In all honesty, I would imagine that we could actually see a Nidus play here in this series, as Mr. Green Zerg here is a big fan of that technology. Of course, though, I have not seen him play against a Protoss player recently. Actually, the most matches I have seen out of Almighty recently is against Zerg players. Somehow, some way, whenever he plays in the tournament and I cast him, it's usually against Zanibus or MSRM or another Zerg. This time around, though, I will see his ZVP, and that excites me. Because a player doesn't reach the master level in the ladder without defeating Terrans and Protoss and Zerg players alike. So that would mean that Mr. Almighty has a pretty good understanding of the matchup. And I'm curious to see what composition he will play with, because, for example, earlier in the day on Nitix, when he played against not Statis, right, he used Link Hydra Worker mostly in both of the maps, actually. Actually, in the three of the maps, because they played 3 maps, and he won 2 of them with that composition. But I doubt that Almighty had the chance to actually watch the games, right? Because he was playing in the same time. So probably he couldn't see what Not Statis and how Not Statis actually lost against Nitix, which could be a good tell about what style of play you could choose in a matchup like that. But this is all theory crafting. The facts are that we have Stargate coming from Mr. Statis, and his oracles are scary for any Zerg that plays against them. A couple of links here ready to intercept a potential probe that is coming for a third base expansion here. They have been sent a little bit early, but currently they have nothing to do at home either way. On this map though, the Protoss player, I believe, that has no trouble getting this base or this base. So if he sees that he cannot somehow take this base, he will try to go to the other one, but the 2 adepts here will be more than enough to take care of the 4 links that were here to potentially deny the plant. Third base here ready for Mr. Almighty. And already we see some Spore Crawlers being added. Only one in the main though, not one in the natural, so Almighty is showing confidence here, relying only on the queens for defense, but but finally he decides to plant a Spore Crawler here in the natural expansion as well. He's building more queens than, for example, Nitix did in the match against Thetis, which I like. More queens. No, these drones not there, brother, not there, no! These drones were basically gifted to Thetis. He should be very happy with this Oracle. Thank you, sorry, oh my goodness. Almost all of those were drones, which is a terrible spot to be in as a Zerg player. But we saw that instead of him panicking, he fired up 11 drones in the production tab, and now he is going to plant down the Roach Warren as well, and he will need it soon enough, as already on the other side of the map we see the blink upgrade being researched. The 2 oracles now here, when they're in pair, it becomes even scarier for the workers. 2 more fall down. One of the oracles is very low on HP, but very smartly done by Thetis to actually put the fresher one further in front, so it can tank several hits from the Spore Crawler, and he manages to save both of the oracles, which is a good thing for the Protoss player. And again, Almighty, realizing that he doesn't have all that many workers, is going to build almost exclusively drones right now. But this is when the things get scary for the Zerg players, right? Because when you invest so much in workers, you are not investing in army. And right now the army supply of Almighty is just 10 army supply. He has 5 queens, each of which costs 2 supply. So only queens here for defense for Almighty. This is a little bit unorthodox in all honesty. But finally 15 roaches are on the way, as well as the roach speed. So we are going to be seeing how Not Thetis is handling the roach pressure, while though finding more damage with the adepts. And actually we have several pylons being placed aggressively here. I believe that maybe a gateway, yes, is going to be built here, as you know. When you try to warp in near a pylon that doesn't have a warp gate, the warp in is very slow. But when there is a warp gate there, the warp ins become super quick. And when you don't have, for example, a warp prism, this is the way to reinforce your aggressive warp ins. And Not Thetis recognizes that he is in a good spot to actually attack, and this is why he builds this very aggressively placed pylons and warp gates. And the Stalkers are becoming more and more. The production tab of the Zerg though only producing army right now. And let's switch to the units tab to see who has what right now on the battlefield. Supply block for Almighty. He is trying to dance here with the Stalkers. The Stalkers though, they have the blink, they have the numbers, and they're pushing further and further to the third base location. Almighty is trying his hardest to defend this location. He is battling with his roaches, with his links. The Stalkers are becoming more and more damaged, but their numbers, their sheer numbers, is more than enough to win this battle here. The roaches will fall, only queens remain, and this will be GG. Thetis wins map number 1. What a clean victory out of the Protoss player. He didn't give enough opportunities for the Zerg to actually develop, and as soon as Almighty felt like he has enough number of drones, there was an Oracle coming and sniping them, there was an Adept coming and sniping them, and yeah, you can see here especially, oh my god, this was just painful to see. 5 drones basically being sent to their death. And this is the final push. Just too much stalkers, right? I liked that Almighty decided to grow on the workers once more. But a Protoss like Not Status doesn't need too much space in order to attack you, and as soon as he realized that he has done so much economic damage, the first batch of stalkers was basically enough to put the nail in the coffin on map number 1 though. But already we have seen out of Almighty the resilience to continue fighting and pushing through the hardships, right? So what I can say to that player is to forget about map number 1 and to go to Amygdala, which is going to be the next map, refreshed and playing like he's playing best of 1 basically. And our players are ready, so as soon as we have the final countdown, I'm going to invite you to the lobby as well. And yeah, the game has started, so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, come to the lobby, let's check out Amygdala and see what this map will bring to us. From the small picture of the map here, you can see that this is the map with the closed off center. So both of the players need to take longer routes in order to reach each other's naturals. And so far we haven't had a super long game on this map in order for us to see what happens when this center opens up. It's a big central platform which is very close to the other side of the map. And as soon as you open the paths, it becomes scary. What is something scary for the Protoss players though is a strategy that involves an early spawning pool, and this is exactly what Almighty is going for right now. Of course, a quick spawning pool without a gas doesn't really spell all that big of a danger, right? Because when the links aren't fast, for example, they become easier to snipe. But let us see, the first 6 links can actually go around. Not only that, they can pressure the natural expansion here. Status is going to come, he's going to see the lack of a second base. Or the timing of the second base actually, and now he's going to go to the main of the Zerg player. He will see the spawning pool, he will see the links. And what is the reaction here from Not Status? Is he going to plant the second base or is he going to do the wall in first? The latter is the choice, and a Zealot is being chrono boosted out as well. This Zealot is going to be very important for Mr. Status in order for him to defend his ramp. And will he actually start off a second Zealot, or will he wait for the Cybernetic Scorfu to finish in order to start an Adept? Because the Adept can actually shoot from further away, right? Already though, this opener out of Almighty has destabilized the Protoss a little bit. As you know, the perfect opener for a Protoss is when he has 2 gates, when he has a second base. Oh my god, the Zealot here got surrounded. And yes, he will slaughter some of the links. But right now this is a complete wall-off actually from Status, and he cannot attack. He starts his Stargate super late because of that. And we are going to have a match where Almighty is going to be feeling pretty safe in the upcoming like minute or two, which can give him a lot of time to actually develop. I don't know if he realizes that. I really would like to see a third base out of Almighty, but he doesn't feel like he has the economy to start one right now. But what I like is that he tried something unorthodox here, something that we don't see so often, and by doing so he actually managed to disrupt the timings of the Protoss a little bit. Such late of an Oracle is something that we don't see every day. And not only that, he needed to destroy his pylon here, so this is another investment that was wasted out of Node Status. And you can see that Mr. Almighty is currently ahead when it comes down to the trading aspect of the game. 2 Spore Crawlers on the 2 bases, a 2 base play coming from Almighty. Still he hasn't opted to go for the 3rd base, but oh my goodness, the drone transfer again has been caught by the Oracle of Status. This time around though, only 1 kill, which can only be a good news for Mr. Almighty, who is researching his lair. I believe that the Protoss didn't see the timing of the lair. Oh no, okay, he did scout that, which is very important. Evolution Chamber and Roach Warren with a lair. What can all that mean? Maybe a very massive attack out of 2 bases with Roach speed and +1 attack is something that I am expecting. But of course, a creative Zerg like Almighty can surprise us. A Hydralisk then is being thrown down as well. Link speed just about to finish. The Oracles are here, 7 more drones are coming. Queen production has been halted for now, only 3 queens have been caught here by Almighty to defend. The Oracles are looking for a point of entry, they cannot find one and they will forcibly be recalled. So again, another good defense by Mr. Almighty here, who is currently developing the Hydralisk upgrades. He is developing the +1 attack for the Hydras and the Roaches, and he is calling more and more drones to come and work for him. I hope he put out a good recruitment campaign, right, in order for him to find the best workers here, as he needs to find brave workers because they're constantly working under the pressure of being sniped by these Oracles of Node Status, who is adding more Oracles to his composition, who is researching Blink as well at the same time, like +1 attack is also being researched by him. 12 Hydras on the way though, they will be scary for these Oracles. And so far I would say that this is probably the best spot that the Zerg has been from the beginning of the series. Of course the position of Node Status is still better, he is ahead, don't get me wrong. But at least I see army, I see technology here for the Zerg, and I think that his build put him in an interesting spot. And maybe he's falling behind on workers by choice, as we see that production has been halted at 44, and he will almost exclusively now build Hydras and Zerglings and everything like that, but he needs to be very careful, very careful with the stasis traps. He needs to send a couple of links first ahead, several waves of small amount of links, in order for him to avoid the wards. Or maybe, given the fact that he has... Oh my goodness, the first trap is just amazing. But given the fact that he has a lair, maybe an Overseer here wouldn't hurt. But let's see, the Hydras do a lot of DPS. But especially when they have links to support them. Right now there are no links to support here because they have been entrapped. But if the Hydras manage to survive here, when the links are out of the trap, maybe this push will be strong enough to actually crush the defenses of the Protoss, who is recalling his Stalkers here, who is warping in more and more Stalkers desperately to try and defend, and he will defend. But it was a clutch defense by him. Behind that, Almighty is developing his Lurker, then he's adding more and more Hydras to his army, which will be turned into Lurkers soon enough. But at the same time, though, we see big economy here from Statis. He's going to plant down his fort base before the Zerg manages to do so, which will put him even further ahead. But at least supply-wise, we see that the Zerg is staying close. But he has put himself in a little bit of a no-win situation, as he still hasn't produced a single worker after the initial 44. And yeah, we have workers, we have Hydras, we have links, but we need a decisive win here on this side of the map for Almighty if he wishes to stabilize in the game. He is trying to counter-attack at the same time. Again, though, you can see how many stasis wards we have planted here by the Protoss player, but he didn't close his door, and we see that the Lingram Bai is being unleashed both on the natural and the main base. At the same time here, the battle in front of the Zerg's territory is a little bit weird, right? The Zerg had the intention to kind of maybe bypass this army and go and reinforce the attack on the other side of the map. That couldn't happen though, as the Stalkers were agile enough to not allow the Lynx, Hydras and the Workers to overtake them and to flank them. The Oracle here, the last Oracle remaining, so low on HP. And I wonder, will Statis build another Oracle? He answers to me basically straight away. Here we have several workers, a couple of Hydras and a couple of Lynx. Oh, nice usage here of the sentries. The Archons here tanked more than enough for the Stalkers to demolish the remaining army here, and not Statis will demand the GG out of his opponent and will close this series with a good 2-0 score. But well played by Almighty. The difference here was 1.4k MMR, and Almighty still was dangerous. He still pressured very well, and I want to thank him for of course signing up for this event. And here we have some replays. This attack was actually very scary, and I wonder if the Lynx weren't entrapped in the stasis wards. Who knows how this attack would have looked like, right? And this is why StarCraft is such an interesting game, because you never know what can happen. Sometimes that can be a perfect push, sometimes that... Nitix though, again, always dangerous. And he is going to be our finalist for a second week in a row. So let's jump into the game to introduce our players. In the bottom left side with the red pieces, we will have the Croatian looking to double his trophies from this circuit. This is Goblin, and the Zerg player in the top right with the blue Zerg pieces will be looking for his first title in the BGE circuit. And yeah, this is Nitix, ladies and gentlemen. Bulgaria versus Croatia in this StarCraft 2 match. Goblin versus Nitix. Nitix used to have the nickname the Bulgarian Trickster before. Very tricky Zerg player that can always find a way to win, and can always surprise his opponents with some tricky strategies, but ever since this nickname grew in popularity, Nitix has become more and more of a macro player. But guys, when you excel at macro, right, when you are so good mechanically like Nitix is, that's good and all, but this creative playstyle, this creative way of playing, you really cannot teach that. And yes, you can teach yourself good mechanics, and Nitix has them, but what he has more is the creativity behind those mechanics as well. So that, in my eyes at least, makes the Zerg player all that more dangerous. I believe that the same can be said for Mr. Goblin as well, though, as he is one of the more tricky opponents that Nitix can face in such a bracket. Goblin, we have seen him many times pressure with cannon rushes, pressure with proxy, Stargate, Void Ray rushes and stuff like that. And his timings, as he showed us on the first map actually between Nitix and Goblin in the previous series, is that his timing attacks are pretty strong as well. Adept being chrono boosted out, Stargate about to pop up. At the same time, this prop is running for his life. For its life, of course, it's a robot. Will the Lynx catch it? Doubtful. And not only that, Nitix very good game sense. He didn't decide to chase the probe all the way to the other side of the map, realizing that an adept could be coming very soon. And here the adept is. So you can see Nitix is trying to protect even the smallest amount of links he has. So far losing only one. The Oracle is going to be the weapon of choice here by Goblin. Some of the Protoss players start up a Void Ray first, just so they can clear the overworlds around their territory. But I think that the safest way to approach the matchup is to actually build an Oracle, maybe two, because one of them can be used for maybe a drone snipe, it can be used for scouting, and it can be used for defending the third base. Oh, will the Oracle see the links? Oh, I believe the Oracle missed the links. There is just one adept here defending this base. So the links will hit hard enough. At the same time, the Oracle is coming here on the natural base. Nitix, though, he's in position. He will chase it away. And the adept will fall here. The pylon seems like will fall too. A second adept is coming, but the links are already here. They will greet it with their fangs. Another Oracle, though, will be finally produced, and the defense of this third base will be successful, but not before Nitix finding some damage. At the same time, Nitix is building another layer of technology, which is basically the layer of the Zerg. After the layer comes, probably we will see another transition to the Hydralisks and the Lurkers. I don't see a Roach Warren anywhere just yet. One queen here trying to fight the oracles, but she will fall. Not before damaging one of the oracles very much. But not a single Roach Warren is what I was talking about, which means probably we are going to see the Link Hydra worker playstyle. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that the Laser is somebody that was playing with this style recently in Home Story Cup not too long ago, last month. Actually, the beginning of this month. As the tournament concluded on the 1st of December, and here is the Hydra then that we were mentioning a little bit earlier, with the garnish of Bailing Nest. So Link, Bailing, Hydralisk, Worker. Well, the Link Bane Hydra is a weapon of choice for so many Zerg players, right? It's a super mobile army. It can deal substantial amounts of damage, so it's always interesting to watch it in action, and it's always unpleasant for the Protoss players to play against it. I believe that against such a composition you really need a big amount of splash damage sources. So far we don't have a single splash damage source here for Mr. Goblin, who though without such managed to force Nitix to cancel his fourth base. Nitix though, looking ahead, he smartly fired up two fourth bases at the same time, because if you get one destroyed, then you have another fourth base, and if both of them survive, then all of a sudden you have 5 bases at your disposal, which can always be very good. Stalkers here, they are displaying their blink micro very well. Hydras, they are gathering more and more in numbers, but only 5 here are not going to be super dangerous for these Stalkers, and the blink micro control out of Goblin is actually pretty good. Several links trying to flank here, but I believe that their intention was solely to activate a potential stasis ward, like they did, and we see that the combined force of Hydras and Lynx actually is dealing quite well with the Stalkers. Nitix was losing to Blink Stalkers Oracles convincingly last week, and we see that during this week he managed to find a way to actually answer to this style of playing. And not only that, yes, he doesn't have a lot of workers, but so many links are in production, so many Hydras are in production, that I believe that the next attack out of the Zerg player is going to be a very, very scary attack. Great micro dog here by Goblin, manages to save almost all of his Stalkers that were under siege. Base number 5 coming here from Nitix, as he is droning here and there a little bit more, realizing that he cannot end the game right now, and realizing that his opponent is probably going to recover before attacking again. Recovered he did, but already Nitix is here above the ramp to meet and greet him, and the Hydralisks with their spines that they're shelling away at their opponents managed to delay this push for a little while. Still though, so many Stalkers are dangerous enough to put pressure on this base. Two Zealots running by here, not a lot of defenses, maybe they will find a lot of drones here. While the Stalkers are engaging on the 12 o'clock location again. Some slow Bailings are slowly rotating towards them though. Manage to splash them up a little bit more, which will potentially make the links work easier. And the Hydras, when they are closing the distance, you can see how much DPS they can do. At the same time, we have more Oracles being unleashed on the 4th base location, but this heroic Hydra will actually take down the last Oracle for Goblin, who already has a mothership actually in play, and is continuing to build Tempests. So Tempests, mothership and Blink Stalkers. What an interesting and peculiar composition we have on our hands here from Goblin. Nitix, he is just spamming Hydras and links all the way. Why is he building another Hydralisk then though? Did he lose his first one? Maybe he did. Which actually is a terrible thing to do. No, okay, he has a what? Why did Nitix build two Hydralisk dance? I am not so certain, but the mothership here is making things very hard for Nitix, cloaking the units of Goblin and probably sustaining them for enough time to actually crush this position here. If this location falls for Nitix, it will be game over for him, so it is super important for him to actually defend this. 13 more Hydras on the way, they will help with the defense for sure. But not enough it would seem, as Goblin will have just too much, both in the air and on the ground, to defeat Nitix. Nitix though with some pretty nice plays here. And what I saw here is a well contested map. And yes, Goblin won it. But Nitix looked way more closer to Goblin than he did in the previous match, so well played by Nitix. And the more maps we see between them, I'm sure that the more he will adapt. Of course, Goblin playing as the favorite here, he proved to us why he is considered the favorite in this series, and has taken a third consecutive map in two different series from Nitix, which is another impressive showcase by the Croatian Protoss player. I have no idea what our second map will be, but I'm maybe rooting for something like El Dorado. We haven't seen El Dorado today, so could be cool. But of course, it's a little bit of a weirder map, and I would imagine that most of the players are actually going to be banning it out. And King's Cove is actually going to be map number 2. I don't know if you remember, but last time we were here, I told you guys that when I was starting to play StarCraft 2, it was back in 2017, and actually King's Cove was one of the trendy maps back then, and just seeing games on it brings me back such nostalgic memories, and we are about to jump into it actually, as our players have loaded up. And there we have it. Goblin is the 1-0 leader here. He will be looking to expand his score, playing from the bottom right side of the map. And Nitix, of course, he is located in the top left side, and he will be looking to tie up the series. Goblin told Nitix, I'm going to show you my new build. And Nitix said to him, going to proxy Hachu. And Goblin just said, well, go ahead. Do that then if you want. And is Nitix actually going to do that? No, okay, he's going to start his second hatchery, where he should be starting actually. And what is Goblin's new build? He's making a pylon here, he's making a gateway, and this is going to be the good old 4 gateway Zealot Rush. So Goblin says it's his new build, but we have seen this build in play for such a long time. And this can be a terrible build to play against. Because if you don't scout it, and you don't know that you're being attacked like that, you still can read it wrong, and when you do, and you have so many zealots coming to you, it's a dangerous world. And Nitix Nitix actually, yeah, I switched to Bulgarian there, I got excited. But Nitix is actually guessing correctly that it is a 4-gate opener. So how is he going to defend against it? He needs the links, he needs the queens, and still he might be saying that he is proxying, that he thinks that he is proxying, but no confirmation whatsoever. And here already we see a display of how dangerous this build can be. The zealots are here, Nitix isn't prepared, he is trying to build a spine crawler, and he desperately will need to do so. The drill micro here is good enough, he's surrounding the zealots. 2 of them actually perish, which is great news here for Nitix. Oh my goodness, only 1 drone falls here. Great defense by Nitix here. Yes, this queen is probably going to fall down. But Goblin is in a bad spot. The more links come on the battlefield, the worse it will become for the zealots. And this is the first Vespin Geyser extraction assimilator that Goblin is placing on the map, so the transition to another technology is going to be super late. We need the Spinecrawler though. The Spinecrawler is not fighting. Oh no, Nitix has forgotten his Spinecrawler, it would seem. If this Spine was here when this engagement began, these Zealots couldn't find any damage though. So Nitix needs to click it and needs to pull it further down. This is what he is doing right now. He realizes that Zealots against Lynx isn't the best matchup for the Lynx. So he needs support, he needs a consistent damage. Oh, and this is actually a great place to trap the Zealots. He's trapping them on the ramp. The Spinecrawler can reach them from here, at least one of them. So in this tug of war, who is going to come out ahead? As we can see, Zealots and Lynx are super evenly matched. But yeah, the further away, the further forward actually the Spinecrawler comes, the better it is for Nitix. Still though, if the Zealots manage to actually surround it, it's going to be a very difficult position. Nitix allocating some of his Lynx to come here and counterattack. There is not a single defensive unit here, but the probes will fare well against just for Lynx, of course. Still, every probe that is being lost right now here is just bad news for Goblin. Who is now calling Stalkers to his aid, but the Lynx managed to snipe one of them, and now they are on top of the production of Goblin. And if things continue to play out like this, I believe that Nitix could pull it off here. Yeah, actually he decided to forfeit the attack here on the production and to just go for the killing blow to the economy. Yeah, there is a wall here, but how long will it delay the push? As the Lynx are already tearing it down. A second Spinecrawler is being produced here. With two Spines, the Zealots are going to struggle a lot. And there is nothing to heal the wall here, and this is it, GG. Nitix ties up the score. A wonky build was tried by our Protoss player. Nitix actually guessed correctly that he's playing against that. But he didn't know that he guessed correctly. He didn't expect actually to guess correctly. And his defense was basically super hectic, last second possible. But he managed to find the right amount of Lynx, and this Spinecrawler was very helpful as well. Even though it didn't help in the initial defense, because it was left a little bit further behind. Nitix realized that, placed it in front of the second hatchery, and this made things very difficult for the Protoss player to actually engage with the proxy 4-gate build, and I doubt that we are going to be seeing something like that again out of him. Ley lines. Map number 3, the score is tight, 1-1, bottom left Goblin, top right Nitix. Basically we are beginning a best of 3 series right now. Both of them need 2 more map wins in order to be crowned champion for week number 3, the last week of the Balkan circuit that we hosted for December. We are aiming to do as much as possible of these. So again, every one of you that plays the game and is from the Balkan region, when we get back with this format after the holidays, I urge you to sign up to play. as it would be just super cool for us to see more and more games. So Goblin comes here, he sees the lack of second hatchery, and he's firing up the casual question mark towards Nitix, to which actually he replies with the reverse card, firing back with a question mark of his own. So the mind games here are crazy, and Nitix even crazier. The guy is just going to pull away all of the drones, and he's going to drill the Zealot here. Will he be successful in doing so though? Let's see. The drones are here, the links are here. The Zealot is just going to run away. He was like, no brother, I'm not going to allow myself to be surrounded by these nasty looking drones. So just, okay, get in as quickly as you want. And Nitix already depowering the gateway here of Goblin. Two Zealots outside though are going to be scary, at least for the drones. And the pylon won't finish here. The probe here has been denied as well, and this is why we called Nitix the Bulgarian trickster, because he can be super tricky. As you can see, the drones are marching towards the main base of Goblin. He is building shoot batteries here. He's trying to defend this position with everything he has, but he doesn't have anything basically but two Zealots, a couple of probes, and a dream. Already the probe count has been reset to 11, but with the shoot batteries now things become more difficult for Nitix to break this position, and he will start losing his drones as well. Oh my goodness, how strong actually are the shoot batteries. 4 shoot batteries here managed to protect the Protoss, and this is now probably a little bit of a mistake looking in hindsight by Nitix. When he saw that there are 4 shoot batteries being prepared, maybe he should have attacked the cybernetics core and the gateway, and by doing so you're resetting the Protoss completely, right? And he needs to now build another gateway and another cybernetics core for him to get back into the game. So maybe when Nitix saw that he can enter the main base, he just maybe he should have tried to demolish the buildings in the wall and maybe play macro behind that. Still, Goblin wins this map, but the idea from Nitix was good enough, and he was just basically this close to stealing the map away from Goblin. Great defense though by the Croatian here. But a bit of a mistake, I believe, on Nitix's side as well, because yes, while the 2 Zealots were tucked in the corner to protect the gateway and the cybernetics core, you could have just surrounded the outside perimeter of the base. And I actually see an interesting, ley lines was previous map. Yeah, we need to see what map number 4 is. But I see here from Mr. Konstantin Dinev, BG's CEO and founder, that if actually Nitix manages to win against Goblin, they need to play a tiebreaker, to see who is going to be number 1 in the standings, because if that happens, if Nitix wins here, Goblin would have 1 champion spot and 1 runner-up, as will Nitix. So this is actually something very interesting to follow. But yeah, Frostline is going to be our map number 4, potentially final map. But of course, like always, I will be rooting here for the underdog, just in order for us to be seeing map number 5. As these players, I really like how friendly they are with your chat. I like how aggressive they are with their build choices. And one more map out of them is, I believe, going to be a gift for all of us. But of course, that depends on the players that are playing the game. In the bottom left, we have the Red Zerk, Nitix, trying to tie up the series, basically fighting for his tournament life. And in the top right, we have Mr. Goblin, who is on match point. This time around, Nitix is going to start his hatchery here on location. And Goblin will see that and probably will be very surprised. Oh my god, you have a second hatchery where it's supposed to be? How so? Of course, seeing that, he knows that he can plan his second Nexus as quickly as possible. And this is what I mean by their friendly old chat. You do understand that the micro tricks here are very taxing for the players, and Goblin was lazy to do it, so he was like, bro, just hold position your drone please, so I can not micro and you won't have to micro yourself. And it just decided to stick one drone to chase the probe, which was recognized by both players of being a proper play. Adept coming here from Goblin, and I imagine a Stargate very soon, and here it is. The beloved Stargate building for the Protoss players. But something is happening though, and I can't really understand what that is. As 3 drones are chasing the probe in the middle of the map. The big question being why? Well, Nitix attacked, I believe, like that in one of the previous maps. And maybe he threatened again? I don't know. But it made Goblin invest into a shoot battery, which I think is probably okay. But still, 3 drones not mining for so long, it isn't worth it. I'm going to tell them to watch the language. Oh, as we are, of course, on a stream. Very weird. They threw me off, actually, with their builds so far. But at least what I know is that when there is a Stargate, an Oracle is coming. And there is one headed to the natural expansion, but the 2 queens here in a good position. They are going to deny the entrance. Of course, when the oracles are in pair, even the queens can struggle when they are in a good position to defend. But the better position they are, the more damage on the oracle, and the less danger the oracle poses on the worker line. But Nitix decided to not rely only on queens to defend his natural, and he will build a spore crawler there as well as one here in the 3rd base. But good timing here for Mr. Goblin, managing to snipe 2 of Nitix's drones. Twilight Council coming down, and I would imagine that it will be for a Blink upgrade. Ever since Hero introduced the 3 Oracle into Blink Stalker play, all the Protosses have started doing it in the matchup, and they have started finding success with this build. with this style of play. At the same time though, we already saw that Hydras are pretty strong against plays like that. One of the queens will fall here. Not a single oracle will be shot out of the sky, but one of them took a substantial hull damage, which means that every attack that comes next with these oracles, one of them is basically going to be one shot away, and this is why we see that Goblin is pulling it back. He will need it both for defense and for potential revelation if there is a need to do so. So it's good to save your oracles whenever you can. Nitix trying to enter the base here, but the door is tight shut by this adept. And these oracles don't have enough energy to actually deny the building of this hatchery here. Maybe though if they become 3, maybe they can actually go and try to deny the hatchery. I don't see anything that shoots up right now for Nitix. The Hydras are not yet in the game. But the links are already on the third base location for Goblin, who, as we see, is required to bring back his oracles. The Stalkers here are actually falling down, but now when the oracles are here, the links need to run. At the same time though, the Stalkers of Goblin are attacking the fourth base of Nitix here, while he is pressuring with Banelings. So the trades in the beginning of the game are very real, but the blink here was a mistake by Goblin. He didn't blink away. Still though, the protection of the oracles will provide enough space for the Stalkers to actually continue their push towards this base. The good news here for Nitix is that this base is still alive, but with all of that oracle energy, I don't know for how long, for long enough it would seem, because the Hydras just spawned and the oracles are a threat no more. Of course you need to be careful not to get over eager, right? Because you chase units off of your creep, then it becomes a little bit more dangerous for your army. So Nitix needs to be careful. He has a base here. But not a single worker basically on both occasions. But soon enough, I believe that more will come to occupy this territory here. Several Banelings being morphed at the 12 o'clock location. They will try to attack Goblin with perfect reaction though. Amazing reaction by Goblin, but the Banelings haven't been dealt with. Oh, this depth isn't going to fall down. Nitix isn't going to detonate the Banelings. At the same time, he's attacking the fourth base location of the Protoss. This Stasis Ward didn't do anything. Only one link was caught inside. The Hydras are here, but they are off creep. They don't have links to pair with them, and this is dangerous for the Hydras, as they are expensive, they are off creep, and they are an easy target right now for the aggressively blinking forward Stalkers. And let's keep in mind that this is basically a map where Nitix has absolutely no space for a mistake. He needs to play perfectly to win this game in order to keep his tournament life alive. 18 Banelings being morphed. Will they be enough? Charge Watts are coming here as well to help the Stalkers. The Banelings though, they're here, they're going towards the Stalkers. Oh, Nitix, come on, detonate them, bro. He decided to wait for the perfect explosion. Oh, which I don't know if was the best course of play here. Still, several Banelings attempted a run by on the third base, but they were caught in a stasis trap, and I can only imagine that once the stasis trap is finished, the Stalkers will have easy time defending them. These stalkers though, they're so bruised up. Every one of them is like in red or orange. And this makes it easy for the Hydras and even the Lynx to close the distance and to do as much damage as possible on them. At the same time though, we see a transition from the Protoss player. So this is something that Nitix actually needs to be careful about, because the Storm upgrade is going to be coming very, very soon. And when there is Storm, the Hydras and the Lynx need to be ultra careful. Of course, this perfect stasis trap here was very nice, as it took down a lot of Lynx here that could have helped substantially in this push so far. Now the Archons are here, and Archons basically eat Lynx for breakfast, and they manage against them very, very well. As we can just see, even 2 Archons here can repel the army of Nitix, who is continuing to build a lot more Banelings, a lot more Hydras, and a lot more Zerglings. More than 20 were in production just now, but he needs to be very careful not to put them under the storms. One high tempo here just with one storm wasn't that big of a threat, but still we see all of the Lynx evaporating basically super easily. And the Protoss technology is becoming more and more sophisticated. He's not only adding Storm and High Templar, but he's adding the Mothership, which is soon to be built. Also, we have another base out of him, and he's being pressured, but he's expanding very well, and he's counter-attacking very well. This Zealot Rumbai here is going to probably demolish this hatchery, unless the Lynx come here to defend quickly enough. And yes, they will. But again, at the same time, the Stalkers managed to take down the other location. So it's a 1-2 punch out of Goblin, and it wobbles Nitix. I say that this is a knockdown out of the Protoss player, and he's going to send a couple more Zealots here to finish off this hatchery. And this will, I believe, put Nitix in a very bad position. He will be on just 3 bases, and basically he needs to find the damage right here, right now. Because if he can't, it's going to be a long... actually, it's going to be a short night for him here against Goblin. But this attack was something that Nitix needed to do, and he did it. Equalizing the casualties, at least worker-wise. But still though, Goblin is ahead in that regard, and he is coming with the Mothership and 3 High Templar full of energy. Of course, the 2 Archons here are nothing to laugh at as well, as they are just going to be extremely difficult for the Lynx and Banelings to handle. And yeah, Nitix is counter-attacking here with his Lynx, but he is forced to defend this position as well. Great usage of the spells of the Mothership so far. Do we have more storms here? Yes, we have 2 more. But Nitix has the Vipers though. Nitix has the Vipers. He has the Hive Tech. And with Vipers, he could abduct the Mothership, bringing it easier, to the Hydras, and making it easier for the Zerg to actually handle this massive aircraft unit. But amazing usage of the feedback denied Nitix from a play like that. Oh, and another thing, yeah, I actually forgot that as well. Nitix forgot it as well. But from the recent patch, the Mothership is actually unabductable. And this is it, GG. This was the saving grace out of Nitix. He was hoping for the